Hello my friends, my name is Wes, and in today's video we are going to talk about goal setting. With the new year right around the corner, it is really important to start thinking about how to set goals that you will actually stick to, if that's something that you want to do. I have set so many New Year's resolutions in the past, and just in the past few years I've actually been setting goals that I'm sticking to a little bit better. And I want to share with you a few things that have helped me and a few things from the research that have been found to be really effective for setting goals that actually work. So if you are new here, thank you so much for coming. My name is Wes. I am a psychotherapist and make videos on this channel related to mental health and your relationships and how to improve both. So if you're into that kind of thing, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it, and it really goes a long way towards helping me get more support. First, let's talk about why goals actually fail. So goals fail for many different reasons, but the main reason is that they are too vague. I've set goals before in the past related to, I'm gonna work out more. Well, that goal is way too vague. What does working out mean? What does more mean? We don't know because the goal is too vague. So setting a goal like that sets yourself up to fail in the long term because you don't know specifically what actually success would mean in that situation. The second thing is that the goal is too big. When you're starting a new goal, you wanna start really small. You wanna start with goals that can actually be achieved and build up from there. And so setting a goal that's really too big, like I'm gonna change my entire job and make an extra $100,000 a year or something like that, is just way too big. It's not gonna be successful. The third thing is goals that are out of your control. So many of us set goals to lose 15 pounds this year, or I'm going to get a promotion at work. I'm going to earn X number more dollars this year, or I'm going to find a relationship and finally be happy. All of these are good goals aspirationally, but they're not good goals in practicality because you don't have the final control over them. Now, if you want to earn more money, sure, there are things that you can do to get to that point, but is the final decision around earning more money yours? No, either people are buying products or services from you and that's their decision, or you're reliant on a boss to give you a promotion and that's, again, reliant on them, not on you. Same thing with a relationship. You can put in work to find a new relationship, but eventually relationship is a two-person game, and so it's really going to be dependent on someone else in addition to your work. All of these things are outcome-oriented, not process-oriented. Now that we know how bad goals are formed, let's talk about some ways to form really good goals. The first way to form better goals is to align your goals with your value. Now, I've talked a lot about values on this channel. Values are a direction for your life. They align you and, like a compass, act as your North Star that you want to be aiming all of your behavior toward. Values can be really important when aligned with goals because values give your goals direction. If one of your values is adventure, then maybe your goals need to be oriented towards going on more trips next year. So think about that when you're aligning with your goals. Write down your values and think about, okay, so within these values blocks, how can I set goals that are aligned with those? Because that'll really help keep the core of your being moving in the direction that you want it to be moving in. So the next step is to focus on process, not outcome. So process are things that are in your control. Say we're going back to the weight loss example. Well, we're trying to achieve a weight loss of 15 pounds is the outcome, but the process to get there might include different steps. So those steps are under your control. Maybe as one of the steps that you want to be aiming your goal towards, you want to be trying to eat a calorie deficit of 300 calories for 3 weeks in a row. So you can set that as a goal, or maybe you want to do HIIT workouts 3 times a week for the next 4 weeks, right? So that's a time specified and very specific goal that you have control over because it's process oriented. You are putting in those processes and you have control over what you're going to be doing to hit that goal. So focus on process, not outcome. The next thing is to figure out what works for you. Going back to the weight loss example, I know that I hate running. I've always hated running, and it's always been something that I really just don't find very motivating. So when I'm trying to work on a goal related to health or fitness, I usually try to do things that align with what I enjoy. Those things that I enjoy involve riding my bike, lifting weights, trying to go to the gym, or engaging in sports like volleyball, tennis, etc. So when you try to focus on something that allows for you to be more motivated yourself and not picking somebody else's goal, then that can be really helpful in building motivation towards actually achieving the process outcomes outcomes that you want. So when you're thinking about writing down your goals, think about, is this my goal? Is this process the way that I would achieve it if it was going to bring me the most satisfaction, the most pleasure, the most happiness in my life? And if not, then try to tweak it in a way that you find a little bit more enjoyable, because you're going to get way more motivation out of it in the long term if so. Next is to practice flexible consistency. So research has found that when people try to rigidly adhere to a goal, like they want to do the same thing every single day in the exact same way, that doesn't always work as well as when you're a little bit flexible. So say you want to develop a writing habit and you want to write 10 pages every day for the next 30 days. Well, that's an admirable goal, but what if you miss and you only write 29 days out of the 30 or 25 days out of the 30? Does that mean that you haven't hit your goal of writing a lot and developing a more consistent writing habit? No, it doesn't. It just means that you missed a few days out of that total 30, and you shouldn't get down on yourself about it. You've been very consistent, and you've been more consistent than you were before, for sure. So developing flexible consistency, a way of looking at your goal and the processes that you're putting into it as something that you will do again and again and again, but if you miss one or two here or there, it's about the long-term impact instead of rigidly adhering to a specific process. So be a little bit flexible when you're working on this. The next thing is to set checkpoints. So when you're trying to achieve a goal, it's great to set checkpoints up for yourself to really help celebrate the wins. A good example of this is setting a checkpoint of every month I want to be putting in a certain amount of process. And remember, you're practicing flexible consistency here. So a good example, going back to the weight loss example, is I want to be working out 3 to 4 times a week for the next 4 weeks, and I'll check in at the next month to see where I am. So at the end of the month, you check in, and maybe some weeks you worked out 3 times, maybe some weeks you worked out 2 times, maybe some weeks you worked out 4 times, and you're really ambitious and things are going really well. Well, you can check in and you can say at that checkpoint, wow, I really worked out a lot more than I was working out before. I feel so proud of myself. That's amazing. And you can also say what worked well, what didn't. And so you can kind of check in and adjust things as necessary. Maybe you're realizing, wow, I'm really much more motivated when I'm lifting weights versus going on these long runs. Maybe I need to index more towards the lifting weights instead of the running. The next thing is to measure your progress. So create a scoreboard for yourself. One of my favorite ways to do this is to buy a gigantic whiteboard and put it up on the wall and write out a calendar with all of the different things that I want to be accomplishing and the kind of processes that I want to be putting in to hit those goals. And then I just mark off with a big red X every day that I've achieved that goal. So track your progress, because once you see that up on the wall, it will actually spur more motivation to continue doing the thing. You want to complete the loop. And this is something that I've gotten from Jerry Seinfeld, where he talks a lot about never breaking the chain with a certain habit.
I heard that line on the Jerry Seinfeld show.
And also the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, who obviously is a habit master and who talks a lot about this kind of tracking progress in his book. The final thing that I want to talk about is self-compassion and celebrating wins. So we've already talked a little bit about celebrating the good stuff, but when you are making progress towards a goal, any progress, whether it's big progress or small progress, it's important to celebrate those wins and really try to internally feel how good it is that you've made progress towards the goal that you're trying to achieve. And when you feel like you're not making progress, when you feel like you haven't done enough, that's where self-compassion comes in. You need to take some time to really look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, it's okay that I'm not perfect. It's okay that I'm not hitting all of these goals every single day in exactly the way that I wanted to on January 1st. I'm making progress. And if you're not making progress, then more self-compassion is needed, because you need to say, hey, it's okay that I'm not making progress. Something is wrong with what I'm trying to do here. Maybe I need to change my goal. Maybe I need to adjust it. Maybe I need to go back to my values and look at, are those values really aligned with the person that I want to become? Is there something keeping me from getting to that goal? And being compassionate to yourself and saying, hey, it's okay. Like, nobody's perfect, and it's about the journey, not the destination. So self-compassion, celebrating your wins, really important on the long-term journey of behavior change when you're trying to hit a certain goal. Okay, so that's it for today. Good luck with all of your New Year's resolutions and with setting any kind of goal that you want to achieve in life. Remember that this is a long-term process and it can take time, and that's okay. Remember to be compassionate towards yourself and keep showing up day after day. That is what is going to bring you long-term success. Thank you so much. If you've enjoyed this video, I really encourage you to share it with somebody else who might find it helpful. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It's super helpful. Thank you so much.